Hello, my name is Jennifer Rice, and today we are talking to the fabulous, the amazing Scott. He covers all of Phoenix, Arizona, and I just am so excited to talk to him today. Hey, Scott, how are you?
How are you? And thank you for having me today. Appreciate it.
Of course, thank you. Well, everyone talks about Arizona. Anytime I'm talking to someone and they talk about vacations or let's go somewhere warm, they either say
Uh-huh.
Florida or Arizona. So, everyone loves going to travel there and lots of people are moving there and wanting
Sure.
to retire there, and we'll talk about that soon. But why don't you just tell us about yourself and
Yeah.
kind of
So
your real estate journey?
absolutely, as you can tell, I have one of those traditional Phoenician accents. So no, not really. So I've lived in Arizona now since 2016. I started off in a small mountain town called Prescott, Arizona. That's where I cut my teeth on the Arizona real estate market there. And I was up there for about 3 years until I moved down to what we call the Phoenix Metro, the Valley. So then I moved down to the Valley because there was a bigger real estate market there, more opportunity, and I really haven't looked back since then. I joined Keller Williams in 2019. Really started jumping into like family reunion, networking with other agents, and really learning again how to become a real estate agent. Because one thing that I found was, you know, a lot of brokerages out there, they'll teach you different aspects of real estate, like how to show houses, how to do that, but they don't teach you the actual meat and bones of real estate, which is lead generation. And that's what Keller Williams really taught me. So, and now I've been with Keller Williams now for, I'd say 5, 6 years now. I started off as a solo agent. I now have a team of six. I have a sales partner. His name is Gabe. We have our transaction coordinator. Her name is Sarah. We have our director of operations. Her name is Dakota Taylor. And then we also have our listing manager. His name is Brian Bayakadi. And Brian is also the co-founder of our team here, the Bryant Luxury Group, and is also my life partner too.
Awesome. Wow. So you have
Yeah.
a nice sized team. So you serve Phoenix, and I guess there's some suburbs of Phoenix as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So like Phoenix, I always say the Phoenix Metro. Once upon a time ago, well, when I first moved, you used to be able to drive Phoenix in about 30 minutes. Now we've had so many people move here. The traffic's a lot worse than it used to be, but it's not terrible. But so like my main area is Phoenix, North Phoenix, Moon Valley area. That's where my farm is, where I play a lot. And then, we have Scottsdale. We do a lot in Scottsdale. I got a new listing coming up in Scottsdale, and we just got one under contract there as well this week. Like Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, are all areas that we in the East Valley, which we service too. And then also like Glendale, Surprise. The great news about the Phoenix Metro is that it's very easy to drive around. Like we are on a
Oh,
huge grid system with a fantastic freeway system around it. So, it's very traversable in car.
okay. And I always wondered kind of about the traffic there. So it's pretty easy to navigate.
Yeah, I mean, like you're gonna have your rush hour traffic anywhere
Sure.
has that, but it's pretty easy to navigate. I know when I'm sorry if any viewers are from Atlanta. When I went to Atlanta and I
Oh,
see the traffic there, I was like, oh my goodness, this is awful. It's nowhere near that. I mean, the Phoenix traffic is actually pretty good. It's not bad at all. It's probably one of
okay.
I've lived in a lot of different cities, and it's probably one of the better freeway systems I've seen.
Okay. Yeah. Atlanta, we don't even want to go there. That's really crazy.
Well, I
Um,
love Atlanta. Atlanta's a
sure.
fun town. It's a fun town.
Sure. The traffic, you know what?
That's
Forget it.
something else, though. The
Um,
traffic's something else.
so I do hear a lot of people talking when they do talk about the Phoenix area, they do talk about Scottsdale. And would you consider that kind of a resort area, a retirement area? Like, what would you consider? Like, because I know that's
Yeah.
kind of one of the suburbs, maybe, right?
Yeah, well, Scottsdale is where everybody wants to be.
Okay.
It's got all the great restaurants, it's got all the great shopping. It's a very, very clean area. The houses are great. The price point's higher for that, though. So, but Scottsdale's where everyone wants to be. When I first moved down to the valley, I lived in Scottsdale in an area called McDowell Mountain Ranch. I lived there for a little while. I did end up moving to North Phoenix because I work all over the valley, so I needed to be somewhere more centralized. But I mean, Scottsdale's a great spot. Everyone loves Scottsdale. I haven't met anyone that doesn't.
Of course.
And the golfing's
Well,
great. Lots of golf, lots of restaurants,
okay.
lots of really nice hotels. We're getting a Ritz-Carlton here soon, which we're all really excited about.
Ooh,
So, yeah.
wow. Okay, so that's where it's at. Well, and you were just talking about the price point of Scottsdale. So let's kind of talk about the Phoenix Metro, as you
Yeah.
say. What's the market like? What is, talk to us, like say someone, was thinking about
Yeah.
moving to your area. What's the market like right now? What do people need to know?
Sure. Well, hey, now is the perfect time because we have 25,000 homes on the market, which puts us around about 5.5, 6 months worth of inventory,
Okay.
which puts us quite nicely into a buyer's market. So if you're looking to move to the Phoenix Metro, now's the best time. We haven't had a market like this since '06, to where that's kind of the last time we had a market. That was only 20 years ago, 2 decades. Can you believe that's
Oh,
crazy, right? So we haven't
yeah.
had a market like that in the Phoenix Metro because we've always been a hot sellers market to where you could sell a house in 2 days. That's no longer the case. Our average days have now gone from 2 days on the market to really like 60 to 90 days on the market,
Oh,
which still
wow.
is not a long time in the grand scheme of things. But what we're finding is that the really nice houses, the houses that are well presented, well priced. They're the ones that are still been able to sell in a quick time frame. But I think gone are the days of 4 days on the market. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, and so for example, I'm assuming Phoenix, the median price is high compared to the United States. I
Sure.
know, is that true?
Well, yes, no. I would say,
Okay.
Phoenix Metro, you're looking around about 575, like for
Okay.
average price point. Now, in a lot of places in the US, that is considerably higher. But we're nowhere near like California prices, and we get a lot of
Sure.
California money coming over this way. So we're nowhere near that. 575 for Phoenix. You're looking around about $700,000 for Scottsdale. And they're kind of like, that's kind of where you are for like kind of your average size homes. I have a lot of people that come here and they're like, hey, we want to buy a house for $300,000. Okay, that's possible here. You can
Oh,
do that. There are some places like, for example, Levine. Levine is a great starter community where they have that price point there. But bear in mind, our average price point is 575. So we're looking at below average homes if we're underneath that price point. So just
sure.
adjust your expectations.
Sure. So, for example, if an investor wanted to take a look at your area, are there certain areas investors would want to look at? Certain parts of town.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the good news about Arizona as well is, we are one of those landlord-friendly states, and we don't have any big natural disasters. We don't have hurricanes, we don't have earthquakes, and we don't have huge forest fires. Surprising how hot it gets in the valley, we don't actually, our fire service is very, very good. We don't have huge forest fires. So we don't have all those big natural disasters. So, we have a lot of people like from Florida, for example, like Florida investors that are no longer getting that ROI on their investment portfolios in Florida and are moving those over to Arizona because they can get that wider spread. Now, and they're looking in places like North Phoenix, for example. Like we just have, the largest semiconductor factory on the West Coast built in North Phoenix. So, and they're
Wow.
making microchips and military weaponry. So there are a lot of high-paid tech jobs that are coming this way. We've also had some indication that Apple is moving over towards North Phoenix as well. So we're going to see a tech boom here over in the next 10 years that I think is going to be really good for investors wanting to get properties in a lower price point now and waiting for that price point to appreciate over time.
Well, and you know what I was just thinking when you were talking. So, in my mind, when spring comes, a lot of spring training for baseball and some of those other
Yeah.
sports come to your area. So I was thinking with investors, maybe there's a lot of opportunities for Airbnbs and things like that. Is that true?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like Scottsdale, I would say was oversaturated with Airbnbs at one point to where the city of Scottsdale actually stepped in and brought new legislation around Airbnbs and what you and how you had to operate them and stuff like that.
Oh.
So we did see a lot of that in Scottsdale. That hasn't quite bled over to the Phoenix market because the municipalities yet, although I think it's somewhere in the pipeline. That being said, there still is an opportunity to make phenomenal money through Airbnbs in particular areas, especially around spring training. We have more baseball players than you can shake a stick at here during spring. So there's definitely an opportunity there to be able to, capitalize on that trend that we see here.
And another group that I mentioned in the beginning, retirees. So, like I said, so a lot of times they either want to go to Florida or they think of Arizona. And,
Yeah.
what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about moving there to retire? I mean, there's so many things to do, but tell us what kind of things are there to do for
Yeah.
people who want to retire?
Yeah, so we have a huge snowbird population here. So the snowbirds love to come down during our winters because our winters are perfect. I do get a level of satisfaction, I will say, looking on Facebook while I'm sitting by my pool at 75 degrees and everyone's covered in snow. There's a level, I'm sorry, there's a level of satisfaction there. I'm really sorry. That being said, snowbirds like that as well. They're getting away from that kind of weather, right? So,
Mm.
we have a lot of snowbirds who come here this time of year looking for properties to do as like kind of second home investments. My advice for snowbirds is come down in our summer because all the snowbirds right now are looking for houses in our spring market, which is our hottest market. If you come down in the summer, if you can bear the heat for a little bit to look for a deal, there's a good
Yeah.
opportunity there for you.
Okay, so they need to come in the summer because I think that I
Mhm.
would die of heat stroke if I came in the summer.
Well,
But
I dress like this in the summer as well. I've always got a cardigan or a blazer on. Do you know what? You get used to it. It's a dry heat.
okay,
It's just like opening an oven. You
that's what
know,
they always say, a
no matter
dry heat.
no matter where you go in the US, unless it's like California,
Right.
you have 3 months of bad weather. If it's
Yeah.
cold or if it's hot. And candidly, I prefer the heat.
Yes. Hey, I would love to get out of 25 degrees today. I would love it. So you are right. Okay.
25.
Well, and you know what? It's been a little mild here, but all of a sudden, Mother Nature will do whatever it wants.
I
25.
don't even
So
think my refrigerator is 25 degrees.
it's not right. We don't want it. So maybe we need to come down to Arizona. But
You can come down here anytime.
exactly. Well, for people in Indianapolis, this is great information because there are a lot of people, our population, and even in the United States, there's a lot of the population is aging and many, many people are getting ready to retire. So this is really great information because, you're telling us what all that Phoenix has to offer. Summer is probably the best time to come and take a look at, you
Absolutely.
know, um, a home.
Absolutely. I would say that, I mean, our spring market's always a good market. Like there's a lot of people will bring their properties to market during the spring. I mean, that's again is part of the reason why we have so much inventory right now because a lot of people towards the end of Q4 in 2024, Q1 of 2025 are waiting for that spring market to bring their property to the market. And that's kind of influenced our heightened inventory. That being said, there are less people looking to buy houses during the summer, so there's a great opportunity for you to still get a really good deal, and also maybe be able to get exactly what you're looking for instead of compromising because you're competing against multiple offers.
Well, I think this is really great information for people if they're trying to make a decision where they want to go. Again, like I said in the beginning, everyone loves Arizona. We never hear anything bad happening in Arizona. Like you said, there's not, you don't really have tornadoes, you don't have hurricanes, you don't have
Yeah.
a lot of natural disasters. It's perfect, right?
Well, I believe we did have one tornado once, and someone's
Oh.
launcher got knocked over.
So nothing serious. Hey, that's great. Well, I'm so thankful I got to talk to you today. This is really helpful. Like I said,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, hopefully people can, heed your advice and, come down in the summer and find a great home. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Well, Jennifer, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye bye.